Hello guys, welcome to Daddy Share Space and welcome to my channel. So here you can see I have a Quinn socket set, and then right around here I have my impacts that I have in my particular shop. So over here I have the 1/2 inch right angle impact. Here I have my regular 1/2 inch impact, my 3/8 impact. This is my stubby 12 volt impact, and then finally I have on this side the 3/8 right angle impact. Now I mentioned in a previous video, it was a short one, that I purchased this set here. This is the Quinn. It is a 3/4 inch impact socket set. I bought it specifically for this 32 millimeter, which is not in there right now. That's this one right here, and that was to be able to pull off the nut that holds on the rotor and also the wheel hub. So that's why I bought this particular set. I like the way that they're labeled to where I can see which one is which easily. It's also engraved on the back there, a recessed 32. So you can, even if this wears off over time, I can still see it here. Now, moving this out of the way, I was going to my local pick and pull, and I couldn't find all of my old impact sockets. So you don't want to use your regular standard sockets with these impacts. And by regular standard, I mean sockets like these. So I have a full set of Milwaukee sockets like this, which I paid a pretty penny for. My socket set, I think I want to say it costs about $300 for that set. It's a 3/8 and 1/4 inch set. I don't want to use my impacts with these because I run the risk of destroying them. So I know that I purchased at least a couple of the inexpensive Pittsburgh Harbor Freight impact sets in my time. However, they don't all come with every single socket, like 22s and some random ones you may not find in a typical socket set. I was on my way to go to pick and pull, and I realized I couldn't find a full array of my sockets. They weren't all in one place, so I decided to go ahead and break down and buy this. This is a $99 socket set. It's a full impact socket set. Let me turn it around here so you can see it. Now, something I had to note, the clip popped off here. I had it somewhere, but it popped off, so I didn't like that design, so I may find a different way to store these. So if you take a look in here, you can see this is just 3/8 of an inch, and it goes from 8 all the way up to 19 on the deep sockets. On the deep sockets for the standard, which I don't use that often, it goes from 5/16 all the way up to 3/4. Around here you have your metrics, and they go from 8 all the way up to 19. And then over here I have 5/16 all the way up to 3/4 in this segment here. Now you also get 3 different lengths of extensions, which are very helpful, and these are impact rated extensions. Over here you have this interesting design for a swivel. As you can see, it's just like a ball and it swivels in there. A little bit different than the standard design that I have seen, but based on it being in the set, it's impact rated. And then here I can go from 1/4 inch up to 3/8. I can go from 3/8 down to 1/4 inch. I can go from 3/8 to 1/2 inch here. And then finally I can go from 1/2 inch down to 3/8. So that gives you a lot of versatility within this set, and that's why I picked it up. Now if I was to buy this exact set or something similar to this in Milwaukee that came in like say a Milwaukee tote, it would cost over $200. I think it was like $220, and it's only a 36 piece set. Now the benefit to that is you can pop it onto your pack out. This I can't pop onto my pack out. However, I may see if I could come up with a creative way to create some kind of an insert so that I could take the tools that I need and put them in, say, a free pack out. And that gives me the ability to lock it into my system for when I go to Harbor Freight, but also it makes it to where I don't have to carry the extra weight of the things that like I won't be using. So just something that I wanted to share with you guys as far as a recent purchase that I made. I've already put this into use and it has so far worked very well. As I said before, I purchased, I think, 2 smaller impact sets. They were Pittsburgh brand from Harbor Freight, but over time, you know, you get to using sockets here, sockets there, and things come up missing, and it's sometimes difficult to put a full set together. That's one of my biggest issues my wife always brings up. I'm always kind of moving around pretty quickly, and sometimes I may miss small details, and then when it comes back to times when I need to get something done, I may not be able to find a part. Now, just going over these impacts really quickly in this video because it is about the impact sockets. So I haven't used these that much. I've used them before, but I recently saw a video where a guy said that the first gen doesn't do very well. I can't speak to that. I've used it maybe a handful of times and it did okay for me. Now, I did bring, I can't remember if it was this one or this one. I took it to pick and pull with me on one of my recent trips, and it did not remove the bolt that I was intending to remove, and it definitely didn't feel as powerful as, say, these impacts up here. And I would say the same thing about this stubby impact here. It's very compact and useful for some tasks, but I find myself quite frequently having to step up to this 18 volt 3/8 impact to get stuff done. So the last time I went to pick and pull, I just I didn't take this or this because I didn't want the extra weight. So these will probably be tools that I'll use more so at home, and when I decide that I need to go to pick and pull, I'll probably just stick with these impacts here along with my ratchets. My ratchets come in very handy because not everything requires an impact. Plus, of course, when you start looking at a ratchet, or let me just pull a different one over here, you can see that this is going to get into tighter spaces as opposed to these 2 tools here. So anyways, this is just a short video, just kind of giving you, well, showing you my new socket set that I picked up and giving you a little bit of rationale why I picked it up, that being the Quinn, and also kind of giving you a little bit of the lay of the land in regards to my impacts. If you're going to buy the Milwaukee impacts, I highly recommend these. Now, of course, mine are probably like 10 years old, so you would be buying a newer version, obviously, but this one does 90% of the work I needed to do. I do have to reach for this one probably 5 to 10% of the time, and when I do, it was necessary. So I was actually removing an exhaust part on a 91 Saab at pick and pull, and I got like 3 of the 4 bolts off with this one, but one of them was pretty stubborn, and so I switched over to this one and it took it off with no problem. So there's a method to the madness as far as having the different levels of impacts. So if anyone tells you that, you know, you only need this one or you only need that one, you know, that can be true like probably 90% of the time. Do I regret buying this particular impact? I can't say I do. It's handy for smaller things, and it works. Like, say if I wanted to do caster wheels on a build, I can reach for this one, and I don't have to have the extra weight of the 18 volt battery and or the extra size weight. This is nice and compact, and I use a lot of I use like bolts to put on my caster wheel, so this is helpful for that. I think that's all I have in this particular video, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care.